Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will create navigation drawer. You already know how navigation drawer looks, right? It opens at the right side of the screen consisting of multiple fragments. I have already explained fragments in detail. You can click on the I button to watch. So in this video, we will create navigation drawer with 4 fragments and 1 toast. Got it? So let's create it. See, now we do have a predefined template of navigation drawer. It's already created, so it is going to be a little confusing for beginners. Hence, we will create it from scratch. So choose empty views activity and click next. Name it as navigation drawer. And click finish. Let's first do the prerequisite. So go to colors.xml. Press Ctrl+D to duplicate the line. Name the color as blue and hex code as 1A90F1. Then go to strings.xml. Over here, we need to add 2 strings, which will act as a command for navigation drawer. So first is open navigation drawer. And second is close navigation drawer. And that's it. Next, go to themes.xml. Make sure parent theme is set to no action bar because we will be using a custom toolbar instead of action bar. Okay. Then uncomment it and write the color as blue. Then duplicate the line and write the item name as color primary variant. Then again duplicate the line and write the item name as Android status bar color. And that's it. Next, I will require a logo image that will be present in the navigation header. So let me quickly copy paste it. And done. You can download the image from the link in the description box. Now we also need to add 5 vector assets, basically the icons. You can search as home, settings, share, info and exit icons. Okay. So let me quickly add all of them. And done. Now all the prerequisites are done. Let me close all the tabs. Now listen to me carefully. As we are creating navigation drawer, so first we will create a menu, then we will create a header and then combine both of them in the activity main. Got it? So let's first create menu. Right click on the resource folder, then new and then Android resource directory. Choose resource type as menu and click OK. Now once the directory is created, let's create the menu inside it. So right click on it, then new and then menu resource file. Name it as nav_menu and click OK. Now inside it we will create 5 items: home, setting, share, about and logout, out of which 4 of them will be fragments and 1 will be a toast. We will see that in main activity. Okay. Now first keep the tools show in as navigation_view. Then we will create a group and in that group we will have 4 items in it. Okay. So first keep the checkable behavior as single, which means you can click one at a time like radio but it's like you can't click 2 fragments at the same time, right? Then as I said, we will have 4 items in it. So write item and inside that keep the ID as nav_home and icon as home. Then give it a title as home. Similarly, we will create other 3 items as well. So let me quickly do that. And it's done. See, we have home, settings, share and about. Now I need a separation line and logout item. So to create that, write item and inside that write title but keep it as blank. That will act as a separation line. Then inside the item we will create a menu And then inside that menu, we will create a logout item. So write item, give it an ID as nav_logout. Then icon as exit. And lastly, title as logout. And that's it. This is how it looks. As I said, this is just the menu. Now we need to create navigation header. So right click on layout folder, then new, and then layout resource file. Name it as nav_header. Choose the root element as linear layout and click OK. Now inside the header, we will have one image that will be our logo and two text that will be our name and email. Got it? So let's create it. As it's a header, so I'll keep the height as 176 dp. Then I will give the background color as blue. You can keep a background image as well if you want to. Then add all the necessary attributes. Now inside the linear layout, as I said, I will add one image view and two text view. So first, let's create the image view. Keep the width and height as wrap content and src as a logo. Then create a text view. Keep the width and height as wrap content and all the necessary attributes. Then again create a text view. Add all the necessary attributes. And that's it. Our header is created. Now, as I said previously, we will combine the menu and header in activity main. So let's do it. Create drawer layout. Then give it an ID. Keep fit system windows as true, which means it sets the padding of the view to ensure that the content does not overlap the system windows. Okay. Then keep the open drawer as start, means it will be at the right hand side of the screen. Got it? Now we have to create three things. First is the custom toolbar, second is frame layout, and third is navigation view, where we will combine menu and header. So first, let's create custom toolbar. But we will create it inside the linear layout. So let me quickly create the linear layout. And then inside it, I'll create the toolbar. As I said, we are not using action bar. Instead of that, we will be using toolbar. So keep the width and match parent, and height will be as same as action bar's height, that is 56 dp. Give it an ID as toolbar and add all the necessary attributes. And done. Then we will create frame layout. So I guess you guys are aware how fragments work, right? So basically they replace each other in a fragment container, and that fragment container will be our frame layout. So keep the width and height as match parent and ID as fragment_container. Now outside the linear layout, we will create navigation view. So let me quickly create navigation view. and done. See, I have kept the layout gravity as start, means it will be on the right hand side of the screen. Then in header layout, I have attached the nav underscore header which we created. And similarly, I have attached nav underscore menu in menu. Then with the help of item icon tint and item text color, I have kept the icon and text color as blue. Simple, right? And that's it. Now, as I said previously, we will have 4 fragments. So let me quickly create it. And it's done. Now, just for the show purpose, let me quickly customize all the fragment layouts. And it's done. Next, let me quickly remove all the unnecessary code from the fragments. And it's done. Now let's go to MainActivity.kt. So I have divided it in 8 steps. Let me give you a quick overview. So in first step, we will declare and initialize drawer layout. Then in second step, we will initialize the toolbar. And in the third step, we will initialize the navigation view. Next, in the first step, we will set the navigation drawer menu on the action bar toggle. Then in fifth step, we will create a replace fragment method. Then in the sixth step, we will create on back press method. Next, we will set the default fragment, and lastly, the 8th step, we will create on navigation item selected. And that's it. Now let's create it step by step. So step number 1, that is to declare and initialize drawer layout. So let me quickly do that. And it's done. Next, step number 2, initialize the toolbar. Then using set support action bar, I'll set the toolbar. Then step number 3 is to extend on navigation item selected listener. So write comma, navigation view dot on navigation item selected listener. And then over here, initialize the navigation view. Then using navigation item selected listener, set it as this means set navigation item selected listener on this. That is our main activity, right? It will sit on the navigation view. Then step number 4, here we will create a toggle. So the action bar drawer toggle class is responsible for handling the interaction between the navigation drawer and the app's action bar. That is basically a toolbar. So let me quickly write it and then I'll explain you. See, this refers to as main activity. Then comes the drawer layout that contains navigation drawer. Then third is toolbar that we created. And lastly, the string that represents the accessibility description for opening and closing of the navigation drawer. Then add toggle on the drawer layout using add drawer listener. And lastly, sync the state. Now, step number 5 is to create a replace fragment method using fragment transaction. So let me quickly write it and then I'll explain you. Now see, we have declared fragment transaction and initialize it as support fragment manager, which basically is responsible for managing the fragments within an activity. Then it begins the transaction. Then transaction.replace specify the replacement of current fragment with the new fragment. Remember, we created frame layout whose ID was fragment underscore container. That is what we are using over here. Then transaction.commit basically applies the changes to the fragment container. And that's it. We will be using this method in on navigation item selected for replacing the fragment with each other. But before that, let's move to step number 6. That is to handle on backtrace. So let me quickly write the code and then I'll explain you. Now see, on backtrace means if the navigation drawer is open and we click on the back button, then in that case what will happen? We will handle that. Okay. So if the drawer is open and we click on the back button, then it will close the drawer. Got it? Else means if the drawer is not open and we click on the back button, then in that case it will exit the app. Got it, right? Now step number 7, here we will set the default fragment. So whenever we open the app, first fragment should always be our home fragment. So to do that, the first we will write if saved instance state is equal to null. Means there is no previous data is saved. Means the app is killed, then in that case it will replace the fragment using our replace fragment method which we created before, right? Also set the checked item as nav home, that is basically our menu item, right? Set checked item means it should point at it. Now step number 8 and our last step, that is to create on navigation item selected. So write override fun basically function, choose on navigation item selected, then inside it I'll use when. If you want you can use if else as well. So write when and inside it I'll write item.item ID, which means it will take the item ID from the menu which we created before, right? So we have 5 menu items, right? Home, settings, share, about and logout. So inside that we write r.id as nav home and give it an arrow operator. So basically arrow separates the condition from the execution part. Like in this case, nav home is the condition and replace fragment with home fragment is the execution part. Got it? Similarly, let me do it for other 3 items as well. And done. Last item is nav logout. In this case, I have not created any fragment. Instead, I will throw a toast. So write toast.makeText and done. So basically when you will click on the logout item, it will throw a toast as logout. Simple, right? Then lastly, I'll close the navigation drawer, means once the user has clicked on the fragment, it will automatically going to close the navigation drawer. And then return through. That's it. We are done with the coding. Now let's run the app. initial fragment is set to home fragment. Then I'll click on menu and see how beautiful it looks. We have header with image and to text. Then we have 4 fragments. Let me click on it. And see, we are in setting fragments. Perfect. Let me try other as well. And all of them works perfectly fine. Then let me click on logout and see there is a toast as logout. Great. So yeah, that is it for the video. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing to my channel and I'll see you in the next video.